things don't pick up here.
Well, I think what happens is these things are like they run in cycles, right? If we go way back to when we talked to, oh God, I can't think who it was. It might have been John McClain that was on with us, and he talked about the Texans not doing anything, and I kept saying, they better try to figure out what they want to do, because as time continues to tick, and people start to hear his frustrations, they know based on last Friday or 2 Fridays ago when he decided to go in and tell the Houston Texans and Coach Cully, I'm done here. Now that's just the start of the devalue. That's just the start of it. Now the longer you wait and we get closer to the draft, now everybody knows that you've got to do something at the quarterback spot. I mean, you're going to line up with Josh McCown? I mean, is that who you started the season with? I mean, so you start to see the pressure points. And now you run this all the way into April. Now teams know instead of giving up 3 first-rounders and other picks, they can now try to bargain with you and give up 2 first-round picks. Yep. And now you're sitting there going, okay, and I've seen this movie before with teams that try to get cute. And they want to hold on to you and not realizing the best thing to do is he doesn't want to play for you. Don't try to force him to play. Get what you can, like John McClain says, and let's move on with, and I understand you don't want to set a precedent, Jay, and you don't want everybody to run into the building talking about I want to be traded, and you have every single year a flux of guys coming to you saying they want to be traded. He's different, though. Certain guys are different, and he's different.
Damn, who wants to stay in Houston these days? James Harden got out. Deshaun Watson's getting out. Victor Oladipo didn't sign a 2-year extension last night. He turned that down. It's really crazy to watch all the way around. But I would say this, Key. I think there's a major advantage here for the Miami Dolphins and Brian Flores. I'll tell you why. Pictures of your starting quarterback out in Miami with our players hanging around, kicking it. He's comfortable down here, off-season home. We may have made an offer underneath the table, but we got somebody that he can be plugged in right away into a Tagovailoa in your system, young quarterback. We have assets, but now I don't need to force a deal. Now I'm going to wait for you to come to me, knowing that your quarterback has no trade clause, understanding that he feels very comfortable in the environment because he's publicly already put that out there.
No, Tua's there. There's no question about it, but I'm Houston. I don't like Tua. If I'm Coach Cully, I don't like Tua. You trying to give me something I don't like.
But we don't know he doesn't like Tua.
No, but I'm saying.
Or do you know for a fact he doesn't like Tua?
No, I don't know for a fact, but I'm saying you just offering up Tua to me just because I need a quarterback. But I may not like Tua. I may like Sam Darnold better. You see what I'm saying? Or I may like a Derek Carr better or somebody out there other than Tua.
But also, you need to get it depends upon the best deal, right? So you need a ransom for this to a degree too. So I know you're saying losing value, but if you're saying that window is shrinking to negotiate, beggars really can't be choosers the longer this goes on, correct?
That is correct. They cannot. But I think what they got to really understand, I think early on they misjudged Deshaun. And they misjudged it by thinking that they could smooth things over, getting the general manager, Nick Caserio, to maybe try and talk to him, get Coach Cully. Oh, we hired a black head coach, so let's try to get him to go and communicate with him. We kind of sort of did some of the things that he wanted us to do, but not fully doing everything. You know how they go.
But they
came back around and decided to hire a black head coach. And I'm sure in that thought process of hiring him, they also thought, well, maybe this will help the situation. Even though Coach Cully deserves to be a head coach, it also could potentially help us kind of solve the issues that we have because he may be able to talk to him.
That makes me so angry, King.
I'm just telling you.
You know what path you leading me down.
I'm just telling you their thought process of what I think they think.
Well, that's why it's so antiquated in Houston. Let me tell you something. If something happens at work and you disappear for like 2 months and you don't talk to me, I'm like, man, something ain't right here.
It ain't even got to be 2 months. It's a week.
Something ain't right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who I hire. It's not right. It's at the core. It's at the top. It doesn't matter who the hell you can hire. Oh, that whole David Cullen, that's going to get me angry.
It's not.
You can't just hire a black guy like, hey, we're going to hire a black guy. Maybe he can talk to him.
You tell me what the optics look like.
That's what it looks like.
You tell me. You tell me when they decided not to and they hired Nick Caserio, but then and they didn't interview Eric Bieniemy, but then they doubled back later on and tried to interview Eric Bieniemy, and then they started interviewing Leslie Frazier and Coach Cully and all these other dudes, and then they hired an African-American head coach in Coach Cully. I'm just saying. Now, I may be totally wrong. I doubt it, though, but I may be wrong.
I just got to pray.
Think
Gotta
about
pray
this.
when you get to these points, Zubin.
And you mentioned Miami and Houston to bring those two together. Think about this. Right now, the Dolphins have the 3rd overall pick in the draft. And if you're a Texans fan, as if it can get any worse, that pick is actually coming via Houston because of everything that happened with Laramie Tunsil. And they paid Tunsil all that money to protect Deshaun Watson. And now they're not going to have Deshaun Watson there. So you're paying Tunsil, great player, to protect who knows who. And if there's any team that needs draft capital, needs an impact quarterback, if they lose Deshaun, having that 3rd overall pick would have made all the difference in the world.
Look, whether they get the 2nd pick from the Jets, the 3rd pick from the Dolphins, and they select a quarterback or trade and get Tua, whatever it is, they've got to address the quarterback issue because Deshaun, from everything that I know, he is not going back to Houston no matter what they tell him. They could have the $21 million. They could have it. He could care less about the money. He does not care one bit.
Take us through it.
Well,
Training camp is here.
Training
You don't see
camp
him.
comes, he won't be in. Mini camp comes, he won't be there.
Week
OTAs,
1 happens.
He will not be there. He will not be there
So
at
take
all.
it- Take us through what happens
And those
then.
stories in the
Is
press
it-
get worse and worse and worse and worse.
And worse and worse. And as I said to Rick Smith early on, they're going to start throwing darts at him. People are going to do that. As you can see, it's already happening on other networks. People are throwing darts at him because that is the way these things go. There's pressure points that come. You said take you through it. Training camp comes, he's at home or on vacation with his family and friends. Mm-hmm. He misses X amount of games. He comes in with about 6 games left in the season to get his accredited season, much like Trent Williams did with the Washington football team a year ago to get his accredited season. And at that point in time, his value will be way down. And that is a caveat that players have if they really understand it. Now, for Deshaun, people look at it, and I know those that are listening in the car or even watching us on television say we throw $21 million around like it's nothing. It's all relative in the sports world.
But you also said if he returns, he may not play. That's an important distinction.
Yeah, why
for
would
a viewer.
Why would I play?
Take us through that.
Yeah, I'm not going to play. I'll come back.
Just sit out.
I'll come back and chill, and you could try and activate me, but them balls going to go in the 3rd row. So now what?
And the longer the story goes, the more dysfunctional you think an organization is. We already think they're dysfunctional, even though they're trying to reboot, but it just gets worse and worse and worse.
And you don't have to worry about his teammates. His teammates understand what organization they're in, but everybody has a different level of comfort on how they want to handle a situation. And that means that you don't have to worry about the players alienating him. They're stuck there and don't want to be there, but they got to be there because they got to feed their family. But if they had other options, I'm sure they would look to get away from a dysfunctional organization as well.
A la J.J. Watt.
But a la J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt decided to say, you know what? Cut me. Y'all can keep that $17 million. I want out because I can get it somewhere else, and I can be happy getting it somewhere else. And so when you start to look at players in the league and in the locker room, because everybody says, well, teammates aren't going to like him. He's letting his teammates down. No, he's not. His teammates understand what he's dealing with.
How corrosive do you think the locker room is? Do you really think the overwhelming majority of players, if they could break free, would? I mean, is it that bad?
I think so. Because you don't treat certain guys a certain way. Because if I treat you bad, how am I going to treat the next person? Right? That is the way players look at it. If Deshaun Watson is our franchise player and you lie to him, now there's a distinction here, right? Lied. They lied to him and told him that they were going to do some things that they did not do. They didn't say they were going to hire a coach or a general manager just based on him saying it. It's a simple interview. I can tell you right now, Zubin and Jay, I'm going to interview the people that you referred me to, right? And I'll interview them. Don't mean I got to hire them, right? How many times have you picked up the phone and said to people, hey, I got my guy, he just wants to talk.
Talk to him.
Talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to hire him.
Do me a favor.
Do me a favor.
Exactly.
Do me a favor, Seth Markman. Here's the tape. Do me a favor, Justin. Here's the tape. This young man is an inspiring broadcaster.